Next, I'll show you how to make the decorative elements. First, do slip stitch with the golden thread across the textures of piece 1 and 2. We start with the piece 1. Look at the texture of the last row on both sides. The right side of the piece will be the side with decoration. Work slip stitches to make a line through the gaps along foundation chain. Leave about 5 centimeters and cut off. Then, make 2 straight lines with slip stitches along the indented stitches on both sides. Slip stitch on this 2 lines of stitches. After that, on the last row of stitches on both sides, work slip stitches using the same method. The method is quite simple. Finish it on your own. Finally, use a sewing needle to hide the thread tails inside the crochet piece. Trim any excess tails. Piece 1 is now done. Next, work slip stitches for piece 2. The wrong side of the second row of piece 2 will be the side with decoration. Insert the hook into the stitch of first single crochet on the top right. Draw the yarn through. Work slip stitches into each stitch. Make a total of 12 slip stitches. Next, insert your hook into the indentation on the left. Work 1 slip stitch. This slip stitch will create an arc. Rotate the piece. Work 1 slip stitch in this big gap. Then rotate the piece again. Work 1 slip stitch in a suitable position. You should a smooth curve like this. Enlarge the loop. Insert your hook from backside of this gap. Hook the loop to the back. Slightly tighten. Then, draw the loop through the gap at the top edge. Mind that the loop should be not too loose or too tight. It should be roughly the length of a slip stitch. Then work slip stitches evenly along the stitches. There are a total of 9 slip stitches. After completing, enlarge the loop. Then, hook the loop to the back through this gap. Then locate the symmetrical position on this side. Here. Insert your hook. Draw the loop through. Adjust the size of the loop. Rotate the piece. Work one slip stitch in this big gap. The slip stitch here should be symmetrical with the one on the right. Complete the rest on your own. Leave a 10 cm tail when you finish and cut off. As you can see, this is what it looks like when completed. The left and right sides need to be completely symmetrical. Now we work on the second line with slip stitches. Insert your hook into the half stitch of the first single crochet on the right bottom. Draw the golden thread through. Work slip stitches into each half stitch. Work a total of 10 slip stitches. After that, work one slip stitch in this big gap. Then make one slip stitch in the gap on the left. Then, make one slip stitch in the gap directly below. Rotate the piece. Work one slip stitch in this big gap. Then make one slip stitch in the gap above. Work one slip stitch into the stitch on the left. Then slip stitch into the gap of the stitch increase. Last through the gap slightly to the left, which is here. 1 slip stitch. Enlarge the loop. As you can see, the line of the right half is slip stitched. Draw the thread through the gap from behind. Then, hook the loop out from the left corresponding position on the right side. Now, consider the middle gap of the stitch increase as center. Symmetrically slip stitch the left half line. When done, leave a 10 cm tail and cut off. This is what it looks like after slip stitching. Finally, thread the sewing needle. Hide all the tails inside the piece. Up to this point, the demonstration with gold lines on the piece is complete. Next, assemble and make the accessory. Apply glue to both sides of piece 1 and attach it to the sides of the base. Wait for the glue to dry completely. Thread the sewing needle. Stitch back and forth a few times on the base to secure it in place. Trim the excess tail. Apply glue to the wrong side of piece 2. Align it to the center. Attach it around the edge of the base. Wait for the glue to dry completely. Sew a few stitches at where the ends meet. Weave in the yarn tails. Cut the yarn. Piece 1 and piece 2 are now assembled. Next, take out 3 fox pearls. Take out a needle that can pass through the gaps. Use the golden thread to sew the pearls onto the 3 stripes on the top. Pass the sewing needle back and forth twice. This will make it more fixed. After sewing, tie off and weave in the ends neatly. Do the same for the other side. The pearls are now sewn on. Next, attach the red patch to the front of the crown piece. Once glued, take out 2 small golden wings. Gently open the sides of the crown piece that are glued. Apply glue to the wings. Insert them into the gaps. You can spread them slightly to the sides like this. Wait for the glue to dry completely. The wings are now attached. When done, cut a piece of thin wire about 30 centimeters long. Take the thick wire from the kit. Wrap the thin wire like this for 6 to 8 rounds. Form a spring. Leave some length on both ends of the thin wire unwrapped. Thread the wire through the sewing needle. Get the pom-pom. Pass it back and forth twice to fix the pom-pom to one end of the spring. Trim off the excess thin wire. Do the same with the other end by threading it into the needle. From the front of the crown's main piece, at the glued area of piece 2, insert the needle. Go through all the way to the bottom. Then pass it back to fix it in place. Trim off the excess thin wire. And there you have your pom-pom attached. The pom-pom on the crown can move. It's really fun. Next, make the 2 horns on the crown. Start by leaving about 18 centimeters of thin wire. Fold it back and forth, turning it into 5 strands. Then twist them together into 1 strand. Take out the black and white 4-strand cotton yarn from the kit. Cut a piece of black yarn about 25 centimeters long first. Then prepare 2 black strands of yarn and 1 white. There should be 3 strands in total. Apply glue onto the thin wire next. Wrap the strands around the thin wire like this. Remember, tidy it up as you wrap. Don't stagger them. The actual finished product is wrapped for about 10 centimeters. Once you reach the suitable length, cut off the ends of the yarn. After cutting, apply glue to both ends. Squeeze them tightly to fix them on. Trim the excess thin wire on this side. Next, take out the 4-piece 3 which we finished. With the magic ring point facing down, thread them on the thin wire like this. When done, take out the sewing needle or another tool and insert it into the double crochet on one side above the crown's main piece, like this, piercing diagonally across. Widen the gap slightly. Then thread the thin wire all the way to the bottom of the crown. After threading, gently tighten the thin wire. Leave about 1 centimeter at the bottom and cut it off. Gently pinch the bottom of the crown with your fingers. And using pliers, fold it over and thread it through the adjacent gap like this. Like this. One horn is attached. Do the same for the other side, completing the other horn, making sure both horns are attached symmetrically. As you can see, this is what it looks like with both horns completed. Finally, attach the crown's ribbon. Take the thin ribbon from the kit. Cut it to about 70 centimeters long. And use scissors to cut a slanted edge. Then, lightly cinch the edge with a lighter. Making the ribbon slightly stiffer for threading beads. Thread 1 copper bead first. Then add the glass beads. Then another copper bead. One glass bead. Followed by another glass bead. One copper bead. And glass bead. That's how you thread the beads. Note the order, don't get it wrong. Next, cut out a piece of non-woven fabric that matches the size of the hat's bottom. Here, I've already cut one in advance. Separate the beads to two sides. Lay the ribbon flat in the middle. Apply glue. Then attach the non-woven fabric. Let the glue dry completely. Check it. Ensure it's securely glued on. And there you have it, a complete purple gold crown. Next, make the head features, which include the ears, hair, eyes, and other facial features. Make the ears first, then poke hair, then make the eyes, and finally sew the facial features. Apply blush and eyeshadow. The new stitch technique used includes FV double crochet increase. Now, let's watch my demonstration. Starting with the ears. The ears are divided into left and right. Here, left and right refer to the toy's own sides. The first two rounds are crocheted in the same way for both ears. Only the pattern for the round 3 differs. Using the magic ring method, work back and forth. Now, let's watch my demonstration. Crochet the left ear first. First, start with the magic ring. Chain 1 as your turning chain. Then crochet 5 single crochets. Once completed, tighten the loop. No need to join with a slip stitch. The first row is done. Move on to the row 2. Chain 1. Turn the piece counterclockwise. Crochet 5 single crochet increases. That completes the row 2. Now crochet the row 3. Chain 1. Turn over the piece. Crochet 4 single crochets. Then crochet 2 half double crochets. Finish with a double crochet increase. That means 2 double crochets in the same stitch. One, 2, then 1 double crochet. One double crochet increase. Another double crochet. And finish with 1 chain to secure. Leave a yarn tail about 15 centimeters long before cutting. This will be used for sewing. The left ear is now completed. For the right ear, crochet the first 2 rows according to the chart. Here I have prepared it in advance. First, crochet 3 chain stitches. Turn the piece. These 3 chain stitches count as 1 double crochet. Then crochet 1 double crochet increase. Complete this row. When finished, secure with 1 chain stitch. After finishing, now I'll show you how to sew on the ears. First, use pins to determine the sewing position. Count 12 rows out from both sides of the eye sockets. Place a pin on each side. Find rounds 19 to 23 of the head. The ears take up 5 rounds. Place a pin at the top and bottom. Then thread through the sewing needle. Note the difference between the left and right ear. The right side of the ear faces forward, sew onto the positions marked by the pins on both sides. Hide the yarn tail inside the head. That completes one ear. Sew the other side in the same way. Next, I'll show you how to make the hair. For the hair, we use wool roving. You'll need a felting needle. Be careful not to prick your hand while using it. While felting, keep the needle vertical. Avoid breaking it. First, felt the facial outline. Use the middle point between the two eye sockets as the central point, felting around the eye sockets in an arc shape. Continue all the way to the sides of the lower eye sockets, then leave space for the cheeks curve. Connect all the way down to the chin. Let me demonstrate. First, mark the facial outline with pins. Insert one pin at the middle point, between the eye sockets as the starting point. Firstly, we define the right side. Count 3 columns from the starting point to the right. Then count 3 rows upwards vertically. Insert one pin. Then count 5 columns to the right. Insert one pin. Then count 3 columns to the right and then 3 rows downwards. Insert one pin. Then count 5 rows downwards. Insert one pin in the first column on the left. Then, count 2 column and then 2 rows. Insert one pin. Then move 1 row down, pin at its first column on the left. This sets the outline for the eye socket. Now let's simply define the outline for the cheek. Count 2 rows downwards, and 4 columns to its right. Insert one pin. This pin marks the outermost point of the cheeks curve. Then count 3 columns to the left. And 6 rows down vertically. And insert a pin. This sets the outline for the hair of the right side. The outline on the left side is symmetrical to the points on the right side. Pin them in place in the same way. As you can see, the general outline for the face is now set. Next, we just need to follow the positions marked by the pins, and felt the hair with wool roving. First, take out a small amount of wool roving. Remove the pin at the starting point. In this hole. Stab it a few times like this. Then flip the hair up and stab a few times to secure it. As you can see after stabbing, it's not easy to pull off. We will felt the hair on the right side. Take another piece of wool roving. Connect it to the position of the second pin. And stab the wool as the hair. You can stab back and forth a few more times to make the hair more fixed. Next, felt the hair on the top. Connect to the next pin position and stab the wool. Note here, when stabbing, a slightly more rounded curve looks better. After completing, connect to the next pin position and stab the wool roving. Like this, we have finished this part. And next, take a piece of wool roving and fold it in half like this. Rub it with your hands. Stab this whole piece into this hole with the pin. For the next position, use the same method. Stab the wool into the same hole. After felting, gently comb it. If there's an obvious gap, stab a few more times to fill it. Then, move on to the cheek part. This part is easy. Follow the position of the pins. Stab out the curve. Note that it needs to look round overall for it to be pretty. As you can see, the outline of the cheek is also done, and the entire right side is completed. Felt the left side in the same way. Stab out the outline following the marks of the pins. It should be symmetrical with the right side. After completing, connect the chin hair. Like this. The hair for the facial outline is done. Next, we will felt the blank areas on the head. With an interval of 2-3 rows between each row of felting. Like this, I've finished one row at the back of the head. Everyone follows the same method, and fills in the remaining parts of the head. Leave out the ears. After all the hair is felted, gently comb it, and trim the excess hair. You can finish the remaining part on your own. The hair section is done. We will continue with the facial features. Let's take a look at the finished product first. This toy has 2 sets of eyes. One set with eyelashes, and one set without. Attach the eyes with eyelashes. The toy can have both open and closed eye states. The closed eye look is especially cute. Let me show you the other set of eyes. You can create various expressions. They're lively and comical. The special way with the eyes make this toy playful. Now watch my demonstration. In the color column of the chart, it's divided into A and B, which correspond to the eyes with and without eyelashes. Start with eye A. Please finish crocheting up to the last stitch of round 3 firstly. I've already done this in advance, because the next round requires a color change. This single crochet stitch is made as an incomplete stitch. Take out the white lace yarn from your kit. Here I'm using a different color yarn instead. Wrap the yarn around the finger. Draw the yarn through both loops on the hook of the incomplete single crochet stitch. Slightly tighten, and then join with a slip stitch. This completes round 3. And yarn change as well. Move on to round 4. Flip the piece to the wrong side. Where you'll see horizontal bars. I'll show you how to do an invisible single crochet decrease on the wrong side. Chain 1 as the turning chain. Insert the hook. Bring these 2 threads to the front of the hook. And then make a single crochet. You can trim these 2 threads off. Skip the second stitch. Insert the hook into the thread away from you. On the 3rd single crochet, insert the hook into the loop away from you on the 3rd stitch. Then insert the hook into the stitch on the right, the back loop as well, which is the 2nd stitch of the single crochet that was skipped. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through the first 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, and pull through all at once. This completes the invisible single crochet decrease on the wrong side. Next, make 1 single crochet in the next single crochet stitch. Be mindful not to insert into a wrong stitch. Follow the pattern chart to complete the round 4. Once completed, join with a slip stitch. Chain 1 to secure. No need to close up. Leave a 10 cm yarn tail and cut the yarn. And then we finished crocheting this part. Next, stuff with a small amount of stuffing cotton. Then, hide the yarn tail inside and trim. Take out the black flat-bottomed eyes from the kit. Apply glue to the opening. Stick it on. Make sure to smooth out the edges, so that the eyes are on the same surface with the crocheted piece. Let the glue dry completely. Then apply a small amount of glue around the eyeball. Take one strand of golden thread, stick it on. Once the glue dries, touch up the details. Next, take out the eyelashes. Trim them to the appropriate width. Apply glue to the base of the lashes. Then at the round 4 where we change colors, stick them on. After sticking them on, apply more glue. Cut a short piece of golden thread. Stick it to the base of the lashes. And trim off the ends. This completes one eyeball with eyelashes, which should fit well into the eye socket on the head. You can make the other eyeball in the same way. After that, we make the eyeball without eyelashes. This one is easier because no need to change colors. You can crochet according to the pattern chart. After completing, attach the eyes and the golden thread in the same way. Now we sew on the eyebrows. First, define the position for the eyebrows, using the start point of the hairline as the central point. Count 4 single crochets to each side. At the middle of the bottom line of the 5th single crochet, insert a pin to mark it. Then, in the middle of the 3rd single crochet to the right of this pin, insert another pin to mark it. Make a symmetrical mark on the left side. Next, take out a piece of thread in the corresponding color. Refer to the actual project for the specific color. Take one strand from it. Thread the needle. Insert it anywhere on the head. And then come out through the marked position. Insert it at the other marked position. Repeat this once more. After that, the needle comes out through the pin position on the other side. Use the same method to sew the left eyebrow. Lastly, the needle comes out from any position in the hair. Trim the excess tail. Slightly adjust the shape of the eyebrows. And now the eyebrows are sewn on. Next, sew the nose and mouth. The nose is positioned 2 rows below the eye sockets in the middle. With a space of 2 single crochets between the 2 points. It's these 2 points. The needle is inserted at any point. First exit from one point. Then insert through the other point. Now, locate the middle of the 2 point and count 2 rows below, where the needle should come out through. Right here. Don't pull the yarn too tight. Then hold down the yarn for the nose, and insert from the row above. And then come out at the left corner of the mouth, which is 2 stitches to the left of this yarn. Gently pull to tighten the loops, creating the curve for the nose. Continue sewing the mouth. The needle inserts at this point below the nose. Then comes out at a symmetrical position, on the other side of the mouth. And sew back through this point. Last, the needle comes out at any point at the back of the head. take a small amount of glue to create the arc for the mouth. Trim off the excess tail. Lastly, apply blush along the cheeks and the edges of the ears. Apply eyeshadow around the rims of the eye and the eyelids with lashes. If you have eyebrow powder or brown eyeshadow at home, you can apply a little bit outside the eye sockets. Now the facial features are finished. Next, we'll make the armors. First, cut out each section of the armors according to the pattern. Then, create decorations for the surface of each armor piece. After that, crochet the belt part. Finally, sew on each section of the armors onto the body. Now, let me demonstrate the process. First, take out the paper pattern from the kit. Cut out the armors according to the pattern. The 6 rectangular pieces are for blue lychee leather, and the rest are cut for brown lychee leather. When cutting, it's better to cut the lychee leather in order to avoid waste and running short. The cutting method is relatively simple, except for this one part for the upper part. Let me show you how to do it. First, cut out the needed section from the pattern. Get the lychee leather with corresponding color, and cut out the shape along the pattern lines. I've already pre-cut this part. The middle section is cut out. You can use a water-soluble pen to draw and then cut it. Fold it like this. Cut a hole in the middle. Then trim the center neatly. Be very careful when cutting, because if you ruin it, it won't be usable anymore. I've already cut this part. For the remaining pieces, just cut them according to the pattern. After cutting one of the blue strips, using this piece as an example, we need to trim it into a tooth shape. Next, make the surface decorations. Using the leg armor as an example, first fold it neatly like this. Fix square claw set studs at the corresponding place at middle of both sides. After that, use red yarn to crochet chain stitches. The length of the chain stitches needs to perfectly wrap around studs. I've already prepared this. Apply glue on the right side of the chain stitches. Wrap it around the stud and stick it down. Once the glue dries, tie a knot with the yarn ends. Use a sewing needle to thread through to the backside of the leather. Cut the yarn. Decorate the other side in the same way. Then apply glue along the edge of this side. Stick the two pieces together. Then take out the golden thread. Crochet chain stitches to a suitable length. Attach them where the two pieces of leather join. Trim the yarn ends on both sides. After that, take out the yellow flat bottom patch from the kit. Attach it in the middle position. Cut a piece of golden thread. Sew the copper bead with a needle onto the leather as decoration. Make a knot firstly. The sewing needle comes out at the corresponding position on the right side. Thread on the copper bead. Go back and forth like this twice. One copper bead is sewn on. You need 3 beads. Don't cut the yarn after sewing. Continue to sew 2 beads on each side of the yellow diamond. Just finish sewing them. That completes the decoration for one leg armor. Do the same for the other leg armor. Let's take a look at the finished product. The decorations on the shoulders are relatively simple. Let's see. Next up are the decorations for arms. The method is similar to the ones for the legs. Note that the chain stitch decorations are done with golden thread. Next up are the hems and the upper body. Refer to the pattern chart for the position and number of claw set studs. Then crochet chain stitches with red yarn stick around the edges. For the left and right panels of the hem, attach blue strips. The chain stitch with golden thread will be glued along the joining. Now we finished the explanation for armor's decoration. Now sew and glue the different sections of the armors in place. The shoulder and upper body. Directly glue them onto the corresponding positions. The armors of legs and arms share the same methods. Both sew crisscross with golden thread to shape straps. Using the leg as an example, thread the sewing needle with golden thread. Sew in a zigzag pattern like this. Then sew back in a zigzag pattern. And that's how you sew it. Make sure the tails are on the same side, creating a crossing pattern. Finally, wear it onto the leg. Pull the straps tight. Tie a double knot. Trim the thread. Following the same method to finish the rest of the armors of arms and legs. As you can see, this is what the arm and leg armors look like when attached. Now you can put on the shoes too. Take out the previously crocheted shoes. Add a small amount of stuffing to the front of the shoes. Apply glue to the heel area. Put them onto the legs. The shoes are now attached. Do the same for the other side. Next, sew up the hem armor. The method is simple. Connect the four pieces like this. Note: the left and right pieces should overlap the front and back pieces. I've already sewn this part ahead of time. Wrap it around the waist. Sew up the remaining section. Tie a knot. Cut the thread. The hem is now attached. Next, stick the upper body and shoulder armors in place. Like this, the armor is now stuck on. We only have the belt section left. The stitch techniques for crocheting belt have been demonstrated before. Crochet piece 1 and 2 according to the chart. I've already crocheted these in adovness. Next, apply glue to the lychee leather. Stick it onto the body. Secure it with pins. Set it aside to let the glue dry. Then take the corresponding color of yarn. Take out 2 strands, on the right side of piece 2, sew on the copper beads as decorations. Space each bead about 3 single crochets apart. That's how you sew on the copper beads. Apply glue to the wrong side of piece 1, and stick it onto the leather. Then apply glue to piece 2. And stick it onto piece 1. Lastly, take the large golden button. Apply glue to its back. And stick it in the middle of the belt. Wait for the glue to dry completely, then remove the pins. The whole armor section is now completed. Next, make the cape. First, use a water-soluble pen to draw out the dimensions given in the pattern chart. Cut out the cape, then use a lighter to singe the edges all around. I've already prepared this in advance. Next, take the red lace yarn. Pull out 2 strands. Thread them into the sewing needle. And tie a knot. On the shorter side of the cape. Fold over about 1 centimeter, with the shiny side facing outwards. The sewing needle goes in and out like this to sew the seam. After sewing, tie off and cut the yarn. Next, cut about 60 centimeters of black leather cord. Thread it through the cape to use as a strap. And that completes the cape. Moving on to making the golden hoop rod, take the thick wire from the kit. Cut it to about 30 centimeters long. Apply glue to the wire. Start with the red lace yarn. I'm using another yarn option here. Wrap the yarn like this. Wrap all the way to the end. Then cut the yarn. Next, use the golden thread. Apply glue to both ends of the wire. Wrap for about 6.5 centimeters. When done, cut the golden thread. Note: don't leave any gaps while wrapping. You can finish the other side similarly. Finally, make the golden headband. The method is the same as the golden hooped rod. First cut about 28 centimeters of shaping wire, then wrap it with golden thread. Lastly, shape it into a hoop. You can work with needle nose pliers. The method is simple. You can finish it on your own. Up to this point, we have covered the tutorial of making this toy. If you have any questions during the process, or find any unclear parts in the instruction, feel free to reach out to our customer service. Susan's family, one thread at a time, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.